shaded banks of Lake Dinkawawa lies one of America's great storehouses of knowledge, the Double Dome Institute for Advanced Thinking. You, sir, what is your scholastic background?
Well, I have a BA from Columbia, an MA from Harvard, and a PhD from Caltech.
And I take it you're a professor here?
No, I'm the janitor.
Oh, I see. Well, are you gentlemen members of the faculty?
Faculty, we're the freshman class. A squared B prime X plus Y. Upsilon, Omicron, Eta Theta Pi. Contemplate, cerebrate, cogitate, do. Double dome, we love you. Felicitations, felicitations, felicitations.
Yes, Double Dome is a shining jewel in the crown of American scientific wisdom, so you can imagine the consternation and dismay that prevailed when one day...
I say, Armbruster, what's the formula for the isopyridine derivative of benzene?
Don't ask me. I'm busy playing with my piece of string.
Armbruster, are you making sport of me?
Oh, no, I'm making a cat's cradle.
Hotchkiss, I think Armbruster has flipped his scholastic wig.
He certainly has. This is how you make a cat's cradle.
Yes, two of the smartest geniuses at Double Dome were now utterly stupid. That wasn't the end either. For next day at a super-secret missile base not far away...
I think you'll find the inertial guidance cam requires a beryllium alloy, gentlemen.
Beryllium?
Beryllium. B-E...
What is it, Doctor?
I can't spell beryllium.
Oh, that's B-E-R-Y-L-L-I-U-M.
Yes, but how do you make the B?
Soon panic reigned in the highest circles of the scientific community, and at a top-level meeting in Washington, D.C., an ace investigator was put on the job.
Inspector, somebody somewhere is draining off America's brain power. Do you think you can solve the case?
It's child's play, Professor.
Well, what did you find out?
I found out that you can use a magnifying glass to give people a hot foot.
Oh!
Yes, the detective was now as dumb as the scientist. It seemed that the smarter the investigator, the dumber he became.
That's it, gentlemen. We must start from the opposite direction. We have to find a sleuth with no brain to affect. We need the services of the greatest numbskull in America. And that's...
No, you're getting ahead of the story.
Oh.
Well, the great hunt was on. Government files were ransacked for the names and records of every clodpole, dim bulb, and schnook in the country. Finally, the choice was made.
Gentlemen, upon this one nitwit rests the fate of our entire nation.
And his name?
Bullwinkle Moose, Frostbite Falls, Minnesota.
No.
Now.
You called?
Yeah, here's a letter for you, Bullwinkle.
Wowie!
Why so happy? You don't even know what's in the letter yet.
I know, but look at that stamp, a genuine picture of Lincoln with a beard.
You must be crazy about Lincoln.
No, I'm crazy about beards. What does the letter say?
It's from Washington.
Washington. You suppose he heard I was a Lincoln fan?
Bullwinkle.
I'd be a Washington fan, too, if he had a beard. And Washington needs all the fans it can get this year.
Bullwinkle, this says we have to go to Washington, D.C.
Oh, then let's.
But it wasn't that easy, for at that moment a mysterious figure lobbed a live hand grenade at Bullwinkle.
Oh, hey, cut it out. You want to hurt somebody?
Apparently so, and we'll find out who next time in the Brain Drainers or Malice in Wonderland.
And now it's time for...
Time for the dancing fool, Bullwinkle.
Again? And now for one of our special fairy tales.
Yeah.
Once in a kingdom, on a street, there was a potter's shop. The reason that it was a potter's shop is because there was a potter inside who made pots. All day, every day, the potter made big pots, little pots, round pots, and square pots.
I don't know why I make these square pots. Nobody ever buys them.
Because his whole life was built around pots, the poor potter had developed a boiling temper. Each night when he'd finished his work, he would slam shut the door of his shop, grumble his way along the street,
Grumble, grumble.
enter his house with a slam of the door, and say to his wife,
Where's my dinner?
On the table, dear.
Curds and whey? I hate curds and whey.
But, dear, you hate everything.
Huh? Oh, that's right. Give me a spoon, baby.
Then, when he'd finished dinner,
All right, where is it?
Here it is, dear.
and his wife would hand him a pot that he would smash into a million pieces.
There. Now I can read the paper.
Following this, the potter's good wife would always say to him,
John, I do wish you'd do something about that temper of yours. It's going to get you into trouble someday.
he would answer.
Bah!
The following day, as he grumbled his way toward home,
Grumble, grumble.
he chanced to bump into a witch who was taking her sick bat to the veterinary. And of course, he flew into a rage.
Why don't you watch where you're sneaking? Well, you witches are all alike. Hog the whole road if we'd let you. You don't scare me, and that goes for your bat. Furthermore...
Well, now it was a short time later that the potter's wife was in the backyard gathering wood when...
My John is home already.
and she hurried into the house.
Hello, John. Anything happen at work today?
Nothing that I would care to talk about.
Why, John, you've been turned into a frog.
I was hoping you wouldn't notice. What am I going to do, dear?
Hop yourself right back to that witch and tell her you're sorry. Maybe she'll take pity and break the spell.
Willing to try anything, the potter hopped off down the road to the witch's house. Unfortunately, that time of year was the season for witches, and he hadn't gone too far before he met a second witch.
Oh, goody, a horrid little frog. I think I'll turn you into an ogre.
No, I'll run and hide.
It was too late, for with a wave of her crooked stick, the old witch turned him into an ogre.
Say, nice job, even if I do say so myself. Real, now I can knock off for the day. Ta-ta.
Now the poor man was in more trouble than ever, and it wasn't over yet.
Hi, ogre.
Don't call me ogre. I hate being an ogre.
Oh, well, shucks, I can fix that for you.
You mean you'll change me?
Sure.
And she did. Into a troll.
There you go, kid. Now you can go live under a bridge and scare billy goats.
Even though he was now a troll, he didn't have the slightest interest in living under a bridge. All he wanted to do was to get home without meeting any more witches. But that, it seemed, was impossible.
Say cheese.
Don't say it. You were going to cast a spell on me.
How did you know?
A lucky guess.
And waving her wand, she cast the spell, turning him into a handsome prince.
Say now, things are looking up.
But not for long. For the witch that just turned him into a troll saw this, and she became very angry.
What's the idea of breaking my spell? When I change him into trolls, they stay trolls. How dare you? I say handsome prince. Troll. Prince. Troll.
The next time around for the prince, I am going to cut out.
Prince.
The second he turned into the handsome prince, off he ran as fast as he could go. He had made it to the town and was just a few blocks from home when...
Oh, you blockhead. You are a nut. Why don't you...
Too late. Too late did he realize that it was the same little witch who had turned him into a frog in the first place.
Ma'am, would it help to say that I'm sorry? I guess not.
Sadly, the potter went home to his wife, resigned to the fact that he would live out his days as a frog. This, of course, would have been a very unhappy ending, except that this is a fairy tale, and in fairy tales, beside witches, ogres, and the likes, there are good fairies.
Good, Potter. It was letting your temper boil over that got you into all of this trouble in the first place. But I think you've learned your lesson. Therefore, I will help you.
Boy, it sure feels good to get out of that wet skin.
And you, good wife, must always watch your husband to make certain that his temper never boils over again. Farewell.
Well, sir, the potter's wife did watch her husband. She watched him when he slept, watched him when he ate, and watched him from morning to night as he made pots in his pot shop. They lived happily from that day to this, and never again did he lose his temper, for, as we all know, a watched potter never boils.
And now, here's that giant figure in the sports world, Mr. Know-It-All.
Oh, I'm not a giant, Rock. It's just my uniform shrunk up on me. Hello there, friends. Today we take up the problem of being a successful baseball umpire. Oh, good. Here comes a player sliding into home plate now. You're out! Now there, friends, is a good example. If something in your voice and manner says, I'm fair and impartial even if you don't like the decision, the player will always accept your decision in a sportsmanlike manner. However, a certain amount of flexibility is not only expedient, but more conducive to good health. Safe! I meant to say safe all the time, but... Now here we have an excellent lesson in calling the play quickly. If you call it fast enough, the player will not have time to take an emotional side. I will demonstrate. You're out! Safe! Out! Foul ball? Which brings us to the problem of wearing good protective covering to avoid injury, such as this face mask and stomach padding.
Hey, you mean to say you can't get hurt if you wear those? Let me try. Me too.
Fine. Now, are you ready?
We're ready.
And now...
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat. See? Nothing up my sleeve. Presto! Wrong hat.
And now it's time to meet Mr. Peabody.
I'll give you a hint as to where we are going today, Sherman. What do I have in my hand?
A pitcher of water.
What do I have in my other hand?
A pitcher of Uncle Louie.
Correct. Now I hold the pitcher over the picture. What am I going to do?
Looks like you're going to water Uncle Louie.
Almost, Sherman. We are going to Waterloo. For the historic battle, you know, in which Napoleon was defeated by Wellington. The year 1815, the place, Belgium. When we arrived, the three-day battle was reaching a climax. The French troops were below in a valley, and there, on a hill to the north, was Wellington's army, poised to attack.
What are they waiting for, Mr. Peabody?
The command to attack.
Who's supposed to give it?
Obviously not that horse. The eyes of every soldier were focused on a lone steed standing in front, riderless. From the insignia on the saddle, that horse belonged to the Duke of Wellington.
Well, where is he?
The answer came from a sergeant standing nearby.
We've been waiting for him for 3 days. He's the only one who can shout charge.
Did he receive orders to report to Waterloo?
I gave him to him myself before we left Blighty.
Then it's obvious what has happened. You see, there are 2 Waterloos. I instructed the sergeant to do nothing until we returned, and Sherman and I left for Waterloo, Denmark. And there we found the Duke of Wellington at Waterloo Hot Springs taking a mineral bath.
What a delightful way to spend a war. Hand me that bone, won't you?
Your pardon, your lordship, but what are you doing?
My orders were to come to Waterloo and take bone apart. So far, I've taken 4 bones apart.
But Mr. Wellington, I mean your dukeship. You're at the wrong Waterloo.
We explained the error and urged that he return to the scene of the actual battle.
Get my carriage immediately.
Moments later, we were rolling back toward Belgium, or so we thought.
Gee, Mr. Peabody, look out the window. I didn't know there was an Eiffel Tower in Belgium.
There isn't. Driver!
Oui, monsieur.
I was answered by a French accent holding a French pistol.
What does this mean, Mr. Peabody?
It means we are being duke-napped. The carriage didn't come to a stop until we reached the Louvre Museum. At gunpoint, we were forced into a large room containing famous paintings. The door was locked securely and a guard stationed outside.
Charge!
Not yet, your lordship. I'll tell you when. It was indeed a stroke of luck that we had been placed in that particular room, for the paintings on the wall gave me an idea. I rapped on the door, it opened, and the guard entered.
Sacré bleu, they are guns!
So he thought. In reality, we had taken positions in a large picture frame, Sherman and I posing as Whistler and his dog, and Wellington as Blue Boy.
After them!
The way was clear, and we quickly made our departure. Once out in the street, we stopped to catch our breath. And so did a squad of guards who had just turned the corner.
Look, a man, a boy, and a bow-wow.
Quick, Sherman, pick up that stick, yell, fetch, and throw it. Sherman complied.
Fetch, Mr. Peabody!
I ran after the stick, picked it up, then I too yelled, fetch, and threw it. This time Wellington retrieved it, yelled,
Fetch!
and threw it. It was Sherman's turn, and in such a manner we fetched our way out of danger.
Very fetching.
On the outskirts of Paris, we looked for a conveyance that would enable us to get to our destination. The only thing we saw was a hay wagon.
Shall we get aboard, Mr. Peabody?
Yes, we'd best make hay while the sun shines. Sherman took the reins while the Duke and myself sought concealment in the hay. We were making good time until we reached the Belgian border, and there we were stopped by French sentries. It was a terrible time for the Duke to come down with an attack of hay fever.
Spies, after them!
Sherman urged our horses onward while the sentries set off in pursuit on sleek, speedy chargers.
They're gaining on us, Mr. Peabody. We'll never outrun them.
Then we must slow them down. How are you at pitching hay, your lordship? It wasn't very good, but all that mattered was that we'd left a trail of hay behind us, and the aforementioned sleek, speedy chargers, unable to resist their favorite fodder, gorged themselves.
This is no time to stop and eat. Giddy up.
But an army travels on its stomach, and so do sleek, speedy chargers. 2 hours later, we were at the front, and Wellington was astride his mount.
We made it. Now all he has to do is sound the charge.
But it seemed the poor Duke was so unnerved by the recent events, he was speechless.
If he won't speak, the army won't charge.
Then he will speak. Your lordship, I have just received word that your house in England has new wall-to-wall carpeting. How do you want it fastened to the floor? With glue or with a tack?
Attack!
That was the word we were waiting for.
Well, there he goes, Mr. Peabody. What a great soldier.
Not only that, Sherman, but after the war, he became a great playwright under the name of Arthur Wellington.
Arthur Wellington, a playwright?
Of course. You hear his name mentioned in theaters all over the world. At the conclusion of every play, the audience rises, applauds, and shouts, "Arthur! Arthur!"
Well, last time you remember, some of the top scientific minds in the country reverted to being morons who couldn't add 2 and 2. The smartest investigators in the world were called on to solve the problem, but they too wound up as complete stoops. In desperation, the government called on Bullwinkle Moose.
They figured I had nothing to lose.
But it looked as if Bullwinkle might not even get started, for in our last episode, somebody had just tossed a live hand grenade at him.
Well, I'll be doggy. It's a pineapple.
Throw it away, Bullwinkle!
Might as well. It isn't even ripe. Hard as a rock. Whoa! Maybe it was riper than I thought.
Oh, boy. Come on, we better get started before something else happens.
Meanwhile, on the site of the explosion, the smoke was just clearing.
Boris, bad enough. Where are you?
I'm up in a tree.
Boris, did you get blown up by your own grenade again?
No, I'm up here robbing birds' nests.
But why?
It keeps me off the streets, that's why. About 10 feet off.
Oh, we're not starting out this story very well, darling.
Ho, ho, ho! One little setback, nothing. Moose will never reach Washington, Natasha. I'm going to use strategy on him.
You mean strategy, darling.
No, strategy. I'm gonna strategy the rope across the door and fasten the end to trigger of the shotgun. And when Moose comes out the door, what is it?
It's tragedy.
You said it.
But Boris was wrong again, for when Bullwinkle came out, he didn't just trip over the rope, he fell over it.
Boy, a good thing you fell, Bullwinkle. That thing went off right over your head.
Let's look on the bright side, Rock. It missed.
Not quite.
And so, in a little while, Rocky and Bullwinkle were on a train headed for Washington.
Gee, I'm worried, Bullwinkle.
The reading of the show down again?
No,
That's odd.
there have already been 2 attempts on your life.
Yeah, but don't worry. We'll be renewed.
I'm not talking about the Bullwinkle show.
You better. We can use the publicity.
I'm talking about somebody back there trying to get rid of you.
Oh, that. Well, they already missed me twice.
Yeah, but you know the old saying.
You mean everything comes to him who waits?
No, I mean the third time's the charm.
There's another one, too. If at first you don't succeed, try again. For just ahead of the train, Boris was approaching the tracks with a long crowbar.
Boris, to get Moose and Squirrel, you would wreck a whole train.
You can't make an omelet without breaking eggs, Poopsie.
And Boris started to pry up one of the rails. As fate would have it, though, this particular railroad was powered by electricity, and when Boris's crowbar touched the third rail...
Ah!
Hey, Rocky! A feller just went by who was all lit up.
We must be next to the club car.
Oh.
And so our heroes traveled across the country unscathed, as Boris continued to light up the landscape.
Well, darling, you failed 3 times in one episode.
I know, it's a new course record.
You look pretty stupid, darling.
On the contrary, Natasha, I never looked brighter.
Meanwhile, our hero's train was pulling to a halt.
So this is Washington.
No, it's McKeithport, PA.
I know, I'm just practicing.
Thank goodness this trip will be over soon.
Little did our friends know that high above them flew a mysterious black airplane, which at that moment dropped its nose and plummeted down directly at their railroad car. Well, who's in that plane? And will it really smash into the train? And if so, will our heroes escape? And if they
And if you don't hurry, it's going to hit us before the episode ends.
Oh, yes. Remember, next time episode, the Deadheads are feeling zero.
What's the matter, Bullwinkle?
The Bullwinkle fan club got challenged to a softball game by the Shirley Temple fan club.
Well, did you accept?
Yup, but I forgot we don't have enough members for a softball team.
Well, we better get some more.
But how?
By hiring me, that's how.
Who you?
Jim Moransky, world's greatest publicity man. My card.
Publicity?
You sell it. And for first publicity stunt, you go over Niagara Falls in a barrel.
Isn't this getting publicity the hard way?
It's okay, kid. I don't mind a little work. Good luck.
Extra! Jim Moransky saves foolish moose!
Look, we make headlines first time out.
I don't see my name.
Look, that's you, Foolish Moose.
Yeah, that's me, all right. What are we gonna do this time?
You're going to jump into Fireman's net down there. Nice crowd, huh, kid?
I'm supposed to hit that teensy-weensy little net?
That's the fireman's worry. You just got to jump. Rest is up to them.
Well, I'll make it easier for them.
How?
I'm gonna get down and jump from the first floor.
But...
Stand back, I'm coming in.
Jim Moransky coaxes moose off ledge!
How come you get your name and picture in the papers and all I ever get is moose? And where's all the new members?
Right here.
You want to join the Bullwinkle fan club?
No, we want to join the Moransky fan club.
Sorry, kid. That's fan club B.